two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and we know they are really groovy.
Welcome to another edition of Two Guys and a Gal talking about movies. Tonight we will be talking about famed Italian director Dario Argento. That's right, and it's fun to say that, isn't it? He's a director, a producer, a screenwriter, and he's really known for being a huge influence. I mean, I can't even overstate what a big influence he is in the horror genre. So if you like horror, if you like slasher, you like blood, you like gore, you like violence, you're obviously probably a big fan of this guy. He was born in Rome in 1940 and became renowned for his visually striking style, also for a lot of suspense, cliffhangers, that type of thing, and the use of intense sound design. His work is marked by psychological tension, stylized violence, and a dreamlike atmosphere, making him a central figure in shaping modern horror cinema. So, to weigh in on Dario Argento, we have Manny Zamora. We got to say everything in an Italian accent tonight. And Rory is the man of 1,000,000,002 now voices, Penland. Yeah. 1,000,000,002 is
I
what we're...
do Dario Argento because I don't know how he sounds.
You can call me Mario.
This show was work for me. Not a big fan.
Rory is the biggest fan of this guy. Let me tell you, Rory loves everything he's ever done.
In every movie.
The fandom is a little much, Rory. You got to dial it back. It's a little intimidating. The love is too strong.
I see that the influence you were talking about, especially in like Quentin Tarantino, but his death scenes in his movies, and it started out with kind of like Hitchcock, kind of schlocky slasher movies. Where'd you go, Renee? You're part of this discussion too. I thought we were going to see more of her lately.
I'm here. I'm putting the B-roll in so that we can see the first movies. I'm multitasking. You have to allow it to happen.
In some cases, he goes way too far with this suspense. It's like, oh my God, is somebody going to kill somebody already? When you're yelling that at the screen, there's something wrong. And the gore that he throws into his killings is so brutal. I mean, you see the knife going into the skin. There's needles, there's knives, there's all kinds of crazy things. Windows going through people.
So I didn't go far enough or deep enough into his childhood, but I do wonder if there was a notable event that got him into the psychology of violence. And I don't know the answer. I'm sure some of the fans will be able to comment that, or Manny, you might know.
The switch happened with Suspiria, which is, I don't think he's ever topped it as far as suspense and horror. Again, he was doing kind of like Hitchcockian serial killer kind of stuff in the beginning. And when he did Suspiria, I guess that really hit big. And he's like, hey, I'm going to keep on doing this.
That's so eerily accurate as to how he sounded.
So that's my Italian director voice. Again, along the way, some surprises as far as, how the hell did he get the reins of this? And again, and most of them, whether they're serial killer, Hitchcockian, or horror, like with witches or demons or what have you, you just get a generous dose of just bone-crunching gore.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk all about that during the show.
Yes, we are.
Well, I drink pink lemonade and RC cola.
Sounds like a 50s doo-wop ballad. Pink lemonade and RC cola. Anyway, but we digress.
Zero.
Uh, like, yeah, it's pretty obvious that Hitchcock was a major influence on Argento, especially movies like
Oh yeah.
Psycho. But he looked at that movie and he said, "But wait a minute, why is the knife not going into the belly? No, no, you need to stick it,
We need to
and
see it. The audience needs to see it.
you need to see it." So he
You
said,
need
"You
to
know
see the
what?
blood coming out of the body.
Exactly. It's like, no, 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 no. We're not going to be restrained. We're not going to be shy and coy about the violence. You want to see violence? You go to these movies to see people get killed. We're going to show you people getting killed in the most colorful, bloody, realistic way possible.
Yeah.
He does have, like all directors, he does have his little tropes. There's eventually or inevitably there's going to be a woman crashing through a plate glass window and either hanging there or getting her head cut off. But that's going to happen.
The trope that got me was that the fact that so many of these movies ended with the killer being a crazy bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
It started with the bird with the crystal plumage, and it's like, again. I mean, eventually I got to the point where, like, oh, okay, she's probably the killer. Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, I'd see somebody go, oh yeah, she's probably the killer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing is after watching these movies like almost back to back, like I did, or I guess we both did.
Same here. He kind
You're
of
like, yeah, you start seeing that there's a very similar formula like repeated.
hey, it's to make money.
Exactly. Yeah. Now these films, these early films, they're called giallo films, and they're basically murder mysteries. And
Isn't that the name of one of them?
Yeah, he actually made one called giallo.
Okay.
And it's kind of and he even made one called Do You Like Hitchcock? So
Yeah.
he lays his references out there.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, neither did I.
He was talking about Hitchcock.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to all the movies, but enough to where I'm like, okay, this is a good selection.
I surprisingly had an Italian movie folder that had a lot of his stuff in it, so I was very happy that I have most of what I needed.
Yeah.
Already. And there were 5 or 6 movies that I was able, to get in time. So I was able to actually watch a good body of his stuff. A couple escaped me. There was one called Sleepless, I think. I didn't get to see that one. And supposedly it was good.
Yeah, I think I started that one, but I didn't finish. It was like, okay.
I skimmed through a lot.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to watch from beginning to end all of them. So, but I skimmed through a lot.
Yeah.
But, you basically, like you say, like, oh, okay, this is the same as that one. Oh, okay, different actors, but yeah, it's that movie.
Yeah.
Again.
And there's a number of American actors, American and British actors that show up in his movies.
Yeah.
And
who doesn't like a free trip to Rome?
Yeah, exactly. So with varying success in their acting, but I think a lot of it is because they're trying to match with the Italian actors, and so anyway. All right, so let me get started. And my number one, and really we've already pretty much talked about it, is Suspiria. And Suspiria is the first in what's known as the Three Mothers trilogy. There's Suspiria, Inferno, and Mother of Tears.
Okay. I didn't see Mother of Tears. I saw Inferno. That's one of my dishonorable mentions because I'm like, what the? Come on.
Yeah, I didn't see Mother of Tears either. I meant to, because I want to watch the whole trilogy, but I just ran out of time. But Suspiria stars Jessica Harper as a young woman who goes to Germany to this very prestigious ballet school, and of course, right off the bat, there's a murder, and she just becomes more and more involved in some of the goings on, and eventually she discovers that this is a school run by witches,
Yeah.
especially the one ancient witch who is the mother in this particular house. Uh, each of the movies in the trilogy is about supposedly about discovering who the mother is, and in a particular like haunted or cursed house. So this one's about witches, and what really and it's funny because when I was a kid, I was terrified of watching horror movies. I had not, they gave me nightmares. So I was actually forbidden from watching any scary movies. And even the trailer to this movie scared the heck out of me. So when I got older and I could go to the video store, back when we had video stores, go to Blockbuster and rent a video, I saw it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch this. I'm going to see what the heck this is about and why it scared me so much. And I watched it. And yeah, it was scary. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I mean, there was a few jump scares and there's a few scenes that are very uncomfortable, like the woman falling into the razor wire and all this stuff.
Right.
But
But you have to realize that at that time, which was, mid 70s, I think it was like 77.
yeah,
The only thing that even had come close to that kind of graphic gore, well, they had a guy in the late 60s who did these schlocky B films.
Yeah.
He was called The Wizard of Gore. I can't remember his name right offhand. He would do these, but they were so ridiculous and silly, 2001 Maniacs or, stuff like that.
Right,
That
yeah.
people just didn't take them seriously. Now, when this came out, again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the only one at that time that had done anything like that, that was
Mhm.
so graphically brutal.
Yeah.
Putting the girl on a meat hook.
Yeah.
And even then, it was tame compared to that death scene at the beginning of Suspiria where she goes through the window and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the other stuff that happens.
Yeah. But what struck me was the visuals,
Yeah.
and Renee mentioned the sound design as well. Just that saturated color palette, just
Yeah.
over the top. It's like, you know what? We're going to take advantage of the fact that this is a color movie, and the decor, and like I said, the color and the sounds and everything just ramped up to a level that you really didn't see in Hollywood movies anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something that more like the 50s, the 60s, that
Well,
Technicolor. By the 70s, they were starting to
I
get
call it the Batman effect. The 60s, when the Batman came out, color TV was just starting to take hold.
Mhm.
And they decided to make it like a comic book and make very bright colors, everything very bright colors. So all the sets, all the costumes and stuff, very bright colors. So they started to do that in movies at the time in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And again, it only lasted, like you said, like 5 years. And then people were like, okay, that's a little too much. All right, let's back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah, Argento evidently dug it because, he, like you said, he painted with a very bright palette.
Hmm. Yeah. So, and so anyway, yeah, it's a fascinating movie, and I've watched it several times over the years. Always coming back to it.
I didn't really like it the first time I saw it many, many years ago. I liked it better this week when I saw it again. But it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't as scary as I remembered it to be. I mean, that one scene is very brutal, but I'm sure they were talking about that for weeks after.
Yeah.
And the censors in Italy weren't as strict like as England, where you get an X rating for that kind of thing. And in America.
Right. Yeah.
You would get an R rating. I'm not sure if this got an X rating or an R rating in America when it came out here.
Yeah. I want to say it was R-rated, but I think it might have been edited.
Could be.
I think
they
the
did
version
that
I saw
came to America, yeah.
Yeah, because I watched it again on DVD, and there were scenes that I thought, I don't remember that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was edited. A lot of the really gory stuff got cut out. So, all right. So we both agree, Suspiria. All right. So
See
what's
if
your
our
number
number two
two?
is the same.
I'm sorry.
Let's see if our number two is the same.
All right. Well, my number two is actually his first movie, which is Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Oh, okay.
And again, this is the one that set up the formula of a foreigner goes to Rome for whatever reason, usually a writer or an artist of some sort, and he witnesses a murder, and then he is either a suspect or he begins his own investigation. In this case, uh, what is his name? It's Muscanti. This is before he could hire American actors. Tony Musante plays a novelist, a writer who's living in Rome, and he happens to be walking by a museum, and he sees what he thinks is a man trying to stab this woman.
Yeah.
In the museum, and so he goes in and tries to help, but there's these weird like double doors, and he can't get in, but the woman survives. She survives the stabbing.
Yeah, she does.
And at first he's a little bit of not a little bit. He's a suspect because he was there at the scene. But afterwards, he starts investigating as to what actually happened, and the owner of the museum, who happens to be the woman's husband, becomes the primary suspect. There's other murders that happen related to this case. Eventually the writer himself becomes a victim, and the guy that you think is the murderer turns out it turns out to be a twist, of course.
Yeah.
And yes, we'll go ahead and spoil it. Yes, it was a woman.
Crazy
I'll say a woman, a crazy woman, a crazy bitch who was the murderer.
The victim actually, turns out to be
The victim actually turns out to be the murderer.
Be a crazy person, and she's capable.
She was
of
actually trying to. He was just defending himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's kind of the one that introduced the whole formula of what became of his Giallo films later on.
It was number one on my honorable mentions list, but it's just not one of my favorite movies. So, but it is the first one that he got noticed for. It's not his first movie. He did a couple of others, but it's the one he got noticed for.
Yeah.
And probably because of the twist ending.
Yeah. But you can definitely see the Hitchcock influence in that one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that one's
very much so in there.
It's very much. I mean, except for the really explicit gore and killings. Yeah, this could have been a Hitchcock movie. With Jimmy Stewart or somebody in the lead, or Cary Grant.
I was walking by a museum, and this woman was getting killed.
There you go. Exactly.
I wanted to save her, but I couldn't get through the. I couldn't get through the door.
Dang it! We need to see a remake, but of course Jimmy Stewart's dead now.
Do it with AI.
You can do it with AI. Bring him back.
And John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, all kinds of people all over again. Marilyn Monroe, because we got AI now.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It'll happen eventually.
It'll happen. All right. So that was my number two. And so what's your number two?
I actually watched this one later on, and it shot up to number two on my list because even though it has the same kind of formula, excuse me, I had a little lemonade go down the wrong pipe.
Uh-oh. Yeah, take a minute. Take a moment.
maybe a popcorn kernel. In any case, this one deviated with one simple thing. and that is there is a victim in the film, but he makes her watch him kill people that she knows and likes. And he does it by tying her up. He conks her over the head or something, ties her up to like a pillar or something, and then he tapes needles to her eyes to keep her eyes open, so she has to watch him do these brutal murders. And it's called Opera. And that was intense. I mean, that I was like, oh wow, that's a deviation from the norm, his norm, which is very abnormal anyway. That just really set it over the top. And he does it to her like 3 times in the movie as he kills people, and finally she gets the one up on him. So Opera really was entertaining for me as far as it was suspenseful. It was gut wrenching. And I didn't feel like it was just the same old movie all over again. So that's why it went high up on my list. It went up to number 2.
Yeah. This one.
My number 3 is also a deviation from his normal themes. So yeah, we'll talk about that when it comes around. But and number 4 too, I guess, and number 5. They're not the usual Dario Argento movies. They're different, and each one of them is entertaining. It's got an entertaining story, characters. So that's my number 2.
Okay. All right. Well, then my number 3 is one called Deep Red. This one has my God, I just
Deep Red. Is that what you said?
David Hemmings. Hemmings.
Yeah.
He is a pianist who witnesses a murder. He's a suspect, but then he helps police track down the killer.
Crazy man.
And then the killer turns the people they think is the killer turns out not to be the killer, but it's somebody else, and it turns out
crazy
to be
bitch.
A crazy bitch. Wait, did I just describe
any of the girls in any Dario Argento movie?
Yeah, but
I think in one of the movies, even the person who survives the heroin actually becomes crazy at the end of the film because of all the shit that she's been through. And you're like, oh yeah, she's crazy now.
Yeah, but I did like. Yeah, I like the twists and turns in this one. I like David Hemming as the hero in this one. The fact that
he's a kind of a strange looking leading man. He really, I don't know what it is about him.
Yeah,
he seems more like a Bond villain than a Bond. I mean, he just doesn't have that leading man look to me.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
Yeah. He winds up joining forces. Usually, he doesn't act. The main character doesn't always act alone. There's someone else that he pairs up with. In this case, he pairs up with a journalist, and together they try to figure out who's committing all these various murders, and and we have the usual woman going through the plate glass. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, yes, it's formulaic. Yes, but Argento has a way of just, I don't know. You almost forget it. You almost forget that it's formula. If you don't watch them back to back. If you take them one at a time.
If I'd seen these things a couple of years apart, I'd probably be like, oh okay, another Dario Argento. He does it again.
Yeah.
Problem is binge watching them all together. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
You've done that already. Another crazy bitch? Really?
So yeah.
Okay, so that's your number
So
3.
yeah. So we got a comment here
Oh,
from Queen Glamazona, who
mm,
says a lot of his movies are about people who saw something that they initially misinterpreted. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, some of them.
Yeah. So all right. So what is your number 3?
My number 3 is The Card Player.
Okay.
I found it thoroughly entertaining. It was a different kind of serial killer story, so I liked it. And I like the fact that it was coming in and around the time that we were doing a lot of serial killer type movies in America, and it was fresh. It was different. In the movie, a serial killer makes people play computer chess or computer poker with him. And if he wins like 3 hands out of 5 or something, he gets to kill the person that's on the computer screen next to his game. So the police, they're not wanting to play with him in the beginning. They're like, nah, we're not playing with you. And then he just kills the person. So they're like, oh, Jesus, we got to play. And then they put a police officer up there and he loses. So one of the girls gets killed. Then they get another police officer up to play the guy. And then they're winning. But the person starts to get away, starts to get loose from their bonds and stuff. And he ends up having to kill them, even though he's lost the game, which I thought was interesting. And then they get a professional like video card player, which is smart. He's a kid. He's a teenager, basically like an 18-year-old boy. And he keeps beating the guy, and he actually saves a couple of people, which is the guy's a man of his word. If he wins, if he loses, he'll let the person go. And when we find out who it is at the end, it's a nice twist. And there's an interesting scene on a train track, where he's playing against the lead character, police officer, that was on his case. And if he wins, she's got to stay on the track. He's going to keep her locked up on the track, and the train's coming. And vice versa. If he loses, he's got to stay on the track. And then he loses, but he's going to cheat. He's got another key. He's going to let himself go. But luckily, the key doesn't work in his handcuffs, and he ends up getting, I mean, I'm sorry to have to spoil the ending for you, but it was entertaining. It was very entertaining serial killer movie. And again, it was lower on my list until I kind of tallied everything up, and I was like, no, that was too entertaining. I'm going to put it number 3 on the list. So, yeah.
So Queen Glamazona, who I think I know who this is. Have you discussed Two Evil Eyes yet? No, but that's coming. So
I don't have it on my list. I know I had the movie. I think I watched it and I was disappointed with it. I think I was just like so much like the other films. I was just like, nah, there's nothing really noteworthy about this one.
It's on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So all right, so that was your number 3, right?
Right.
Okay. So my number 4 is, again, now this is probably, for me, this is the one that's different from some of his other movies. I mean, there's still a serial killer, but the protagonist is a little bit different, and it's Phenomena, or also known as Creepers. And this stars Jennifer Connelly, a very young Jennifer Connelly. Yes, oh, absolutely.
Fresh off of the David Bowie thing.
The Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. Yeah. Because she's real young in this too.
Yeah.
This movie had so many stories about that damn monkey.
Mm-hmm.
It actually bit one of her fingers off, and she had to go to the hospital and have her finger reattached.
Oh my good.
Yeah, I mean, this monkey was horrible to work with. Yeah. Dario Argento hated that monkey. It kept turning his ass to the camera.
Yeah, it's like, there's more monkey ass than I really want to see.
It's supposed to be a trained monkey, and they're giving it a straight razor, which is kind of a nod to the Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chimpanzee, I should say. It's not a monkey. Monkeys have tails. It's a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's on my honorable mention list just for the fact that Jennifer Connelly's in it. Donald Pleasance is in it
Donald
in one of his
Pleasance.
last roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to talk about that damn dirty chimp.
Who in the movie? Yeah. You know, I'm sure Jennifer's had to deal with other terrible co-stars, but the monkey winds up saving her at the end.
Yeah.
Which is
In the movie.
ironic in the movie, yeah, or the chimpanzee, I should say. Yeah, and yeah, we have another crazy bitch as the villain.
Yes.
A great twist, great ending. So Jennifer Connelly plays this young girl. And then there's shades of Suspiria in this as well. She's this young girl who is going to this school, and I forget exactly why, but this very posh prep school.
Which one was the blatant ripoff of Friday the 13th with the mother killing everybody and the son is like this mongoloid kid like Jason kind of, except even earlier looking. Huh?
It's this one. It's Phenomena.
Is it Phenomena?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's why I bumped it down to my honorable mentions list.
Yeah.
Just because I was so upset. It was just such a ripoff of Friday the 13th. And it was years after Friday the 13th, too. It was like 84, I think.
Yeah.
85, maybe.
Yeah.
It was one of Donald Pleasance's last ones.
Yeah. But the weird thing is she is somehow able to control or communicate with insects. She has a thing for insects. And Donald Pleasance, of course, just happens to play an entomologist who studies insects. And that becomes, of course, an important point in order when they are trying to track down this serial killer who's killing these young girls. And the twist, okay, you kind of saw it coming, but then there's another twist. But yeah, it's complete. It is complete ripoff.
Even a fight on a boat on the water at the end. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Throwing popcorn at the screen. Come on. Queen Glamazona. That was our number one pick, both of us. Suspiria. It was number one on both of our lists. Yeah. Did anyone like the remake? I didn't see the remake. But I like Chloe Zoe Moretz, whatever, the girl who played Hit Girl in Kick-Ass. She's in it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good.
Tilda Swinton, if I remember correctly.
Tilda Swinton's in it too. Yeah. She's obviously going to be one of the winners.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the original, but I thought it was okay. I thought for a remake, yeah, they did okay.
Not bad.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So I like Jennifer Connelly. Maybe not one of her best performances, but I did like her character. I like Pleasance. I thought, the chimpanzee was a nice touch. And yeah, you're right. There was a nod to Murders in the Rue Morgue. With the whole razor blade thing. You all right? Are you okay?
Yeah, I just gotta stop eating popcorn on the show, I think. I think I got a little flake in there and it keeps coming back.
Yeah. That'll happen. That's why I don't eat anything when I'm doing the show.
I was only going to do it a couple of times in the beginning of the show, and Renee's like, "Oh, we missed the popcorn." She keeps telling me.
It was not just me; it was people in the audience too, including Sandy. Like I think Sandy too was another one. Everyone was like, "Yeah, that's like your thing now. That's your thing now." But we didn't know it would kill you. We don't want you to be injured by it.
Well,
it never occurred to us that the popcorn would be injured right now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Queen Glamazona says it's Chloe Grace Moretz.
Chloe Grace Moretz. Grace, that's what it is. Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah.
She's adorable. Well, she's all grown up now, but She's adorable.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's great as Hit Girl.
As I like to say.
Yep. Okay. So that was my number 4.
My number 4 was Dark Glasses, which is also called Black Glasses. I think it's Dark Glasses in America, Black Glasses in Europe. I like I like the fact that the heroine is a call girl. She's a prostitute, and there's a serial killer, and he's killing prostitutes, and he targets her, and as a result, he's in a white van, which is a kind of a nod to Ted Bundy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Around the right time too. He smashes into the back of her car, causes her car to have an accident with another car, where she basically decapitates a little Chinese boy's parents. Both of them are killed in the accident. Oh, the mother's in a coma, I think, for a while, and then she dies in the hospital. But there's he's like a 7-8-year-old kid, I think, Chinese kid, and she ends up taking him under her wing because she has been made blind by the accident. So interesting writing. I mean, as far as the characters go, she's a prostitute. Now she's a blind prostitute. She needs help. She's got a seeing eye dog. She's got this Chinese kid who at first he hates her. He's like, oh, you killed my parents, or yeah, you killed my dad. My mom's in a coma because of you. But then he starts to get that she's okay because she helps him out a couple of times. He's in like a foster care center. And they're talking about giving him out to a family, because his mom's not doing well. And so he ends up leaving and going to live with her because he trusts her now. And the serial killer starts to come back. So now they're running from the serial killer, her and the boy, and she's blind.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a nod to, what's the one with Audrey Hepburn? Into the Dark?
Oh, yeah, something dark. No, wait until dark. Wait until dark. Yeah.
Wait until dark. So a little bit of a nod to that, without ripping it off completely.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah. Also a nod to Gloria.
Okay.
It's a Gina Rowlands movie. She plays this like gangster's moll who winds up having to take care of this kid.
Right.
Because his parents are killed, and for some reason the mobsters are after her. They're after the kid. So anyway, so there's a little bit of that as well.
Okay. So again, thoroughly entertaining. The bad guy's death at the end of the film is so incredibly brutal. It's just vicious. It involves her seeing eye dog and his throat. And of course, Argento just takes it way over the top, and the kid has to watch it, and he's like explaining to her. She doesn't have to see it. She knows what's going on. She knows what's happening. And yeah, it's Dario Argento brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, Black Glasses, also known as Dark Glasses.
Yeah.
That's my number 4.
I like, and again, it's kind of a return, like Suspiria. A lot of the bright colors, a lot of the all his, a lot of his signature stuff in that one. But yeah, it's like you said, it's very entertaining. So
yeah,
didn't make my list, unfortunately, but
it's not everybody's cup of tea. I can see that.
Yeah. But I like a good prostitute on the run movie, so may have to watch it again. Yeah, Gloria was remade with Sharon Stone. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
But again, not as good as the original with Gina Rowlands.
Yeah. That's why I've never renewed my driver's license.
All right. So my number 5 is Tenebrae.
Okay.
And this one again is a return to form. It's a return to the serial killer format that that has served Dario well for all these years.
Now,
But this one stars Tony Franciosa or Anthony Franciosa
okay.
and John Saxon. And
Yes.
Franciosa plays again, he's a writer or a novelist working in Rome. Or well, actually not working. He's visiting Rome to promote his latest book called Tenebrae.
Mhm.
And there's a murder, and the murder seems to be patterned on something that he on this book. And in fact, the victim is found with pieces of the book, like or pages from the book, like shoved in her mouth and scattered around and all that stuff. So of course he is the lead suspect at first, but when there's other murders, then it's like, oh, okay, well, you have an alibi, so maybe you're not. And so he tries to investigate and who the actual murderer is. They find somebody who looks like he is the murderer, but then there's a twist, and actually, I don't think there's a crazy bitch in this one.
No.
He deviated from the crazy bitch formula with this one, where it turns out, spoilers, that it's him, it's the writer who is the murderer.
Right. Tony
and
Franciosa.
It turns out that it's Tony Franciosa, and his death is it's maybe not as brutal as getting your throat torn out by a seeing eye dog, but it's pretty brutal, and he winds up getting killed with a modern sculpture, this very sharp, pointy sculpture.
Sharp, pointy.
There is a very graphic scene of a woman getting her arm chopped off and blood spraying everywhere.
I'll tell you the scene that stood out for me in that is John Saxon's death scene, where he is out in broad daylight in a crowded square, and the killer comes up and stabs him and leaves him right there to die in the square in front of everybody. That was pretty weird. I mean, or that was, how when they say when Hitchcock did the shower scene in Psycho, people didn't want to go take showers, and they say when you're most vulnerable. They did the same thing in Psycho too. A girl's on the toilet and she gets her throat slashed.
Right.
They were trying to go for that same kind of, you're not safe anywhere. And in Jaws, you're never going to go back in the water. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. I mean, that really hit me. That wow, he just got killed in broad daylight. Nobody saw that the murder happen because it was so fast and so quick, and the guy just kept on moving. And again, it turned out to be Tony Franciosa. So when he sees him, you can see on his face he knows who it is. But he just stabs him and walks away. And then everybody is like, "Hey, what's wrong with that guy?" And then they all surround him as he's dying, as he's bleeding out in the square there. So they did that again because it was written in the book in Hannibal, the second Dr. Lecter movie. He kills a guy and it's in Rome. He kills a guy in the Italian square there, and he just kind of bleeds out. And it happened so fast and so quick, nobody saw it was Dr. Lecter, and he moved on, that kind of thing. So that one stood out for me with that movie. But I was so upset that it was Tony Franciosa at the end. I was just like, no, this isn't making my list. That's like No Way Out, man. When they get you vested in a character and then it turns out, oh, he's the murderer.
But and
at least he wasn't a Russian spy.
He wasn't a Russian spy. It was just crazy. A
crazy writer.
A crazy writer, and the whole bit with the red shoes, and that whole sort of anyway, uh, I, I enjoyed that one. All right.
So that was
So
your
that
number
was
5.
my number 5, right? Right.
Yeah. My number 5 is a surprise. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I did. I thought, okay, they did some fresh things here with this. In some cases, kind of weird. But Dracula 3D, which is one of his later films. Rutger Hauer, who's played vampires in many movies, finally gets to play Van Helsing. And the guy that plays Dracula is pretty unmemorable as far as, I mean, there's nothing really that stands out about his performance from other actors. But yeah, I mean, his vampire powers are extraordinary in the film. A lot of them done with CGI kind of stuff. He actually attacks a person as an owl. Like Dracula could turn into a vampire or a wolf. Well, he could turn into an owl too in this one, which I thought was an interesting addition.
Yeah.
I have the same problem with this that I have with other vampire movies, and that is people who are freshly turned into vampires and they stake them or do something to them, like throw holy water on them or something, they just immediately disintegrate to ashes. And it's like, wait a minute, their body hasn't decayed yet. They just got turned into a vampire. Why are you doing that? I hate that. So they do that in this film, which bugged me. Yeah, with Dracula, you expect that. He's hundreds, if not thousands of years old, His bride, yeah, you expect that. But Jonathan Harker, who was turned into a vampire just a couple of weeks ago, he wouldn't turn to dust. Come on. So I have a big problem with that. But it is an interesting movie to watch. There's a scene in it where like the townspeople get together and they're like talking about Dracula. They're talking smack about Drac. and he shows up. He comes in as like a bunch of flies and makes himself back into Dracula again. And he just intimidates the hell out of him for like 2 or 3 minutes before he kills them all. He's like, "Oh, you're a bunch of cowards. You won't stand up to be face to face," and he kills them all. And it's like the town constable and the inn, like the bar pub owner, and one of the guys that's there is actually his assistant. We saw him in an earlier scene, so we know it's his assistant, and we know that he probably tipped him off. Hey, we're having a town meeting. So, yeah, a different take on Dracula, and better than some other takes that I've seen that just deviate too much from the norm, from the material, I should say. Yeah. It's not normal.
Yeah. To answer this question, yes, Dario Argento was in that movie.
Yeah, his kids are in a lot of his movies. He's got a couple of daughters and a son, I think. Yeah, and they've all popped into his movies as characters. Yeah.
But probably the best known one is Asia.
The most known one is Asia. Yeah, because she's actually a pretty good actress.
Yes, we have seen Renfield.
Oh yeah.
And in fact, I think that crew over at Big Monster Briefing Room,
they just did
talk about that one.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, awesome as Dracula.
Cage. Yeah. I hate to admit this because I love Dracula movies. This is not one of my favorites. And as much as I love Argento, I was disappointed. I was actually kind of disappointed by this one. And I may watch it again because sometimes you watch a movie and you're like,
when did you see it?
You go back. It not recently. It's been a few years.
It's been a few years. Yeah,
at least a couple of years.
Again, I went in with a closed mind. I was like, I haven't heard of this one until this week, so it's probably not that good. And it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Actually, I watched it last year when we did our show on Dracula.
Oh wow!
And it was like, no, this is just not. It's not doing it for me. But I'm like I said, I'm gonna go. With
You're right. Probably go back an honorable mention, and I should have put something else up on the list, but there it is.
You talked about opera earlier, and on second thought, I feel like that should have been on my top 5 because it is but it's number one on my honorable mentions
So
list.
intense. Yeah,
It
those
is, yeah.
needles. Oh my
Oh,
God.
oh my God. And then you see the shot when you see like she's looking through like
The
this.
needles. Yeah.
Needles. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was very different. It was
Just
basically,
touching a little eyebrow, you get a little blood on one of the needles.
yeah.
It's just, oh my God.
It
She
was,
had
I
so
think,
much to kill him.
yeah, it was a nod to I think it was like his version of Phantom of the Opera. Uh,
Mm.
kind of, sort of.
He
Or
did
maybe
do a
it's just,
opera, you know.
yeah, he did do it. Oh, that's right. He did do a Phantom of the Opera.
It's one of
Uh,
my honorable mentions.
yeah.
Julian Sands, very pretty man. And I skimmed through it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I skimmed through it, and there was no acid on his face. He was Julian Sands, and he was having sex with all the other characters. He is like, what the hell is this? This isn't the Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
So, and when I first saw Phantom of the Opera, like 90s, I thought, oh, he must have directed the one with Robert Englund, which was actually a pretty good graphic, gory version of Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. No,
But it was Julian Sands. And again, he doesn't have a disfigured face that I could see.
huh.
Again, I just stopped watching it. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. This is just pissing me off. So that made my dishonorable mention list. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but opera, yeah. Like I said, very entertaining, very, if you yeah. And
It's right up there with Suspiria for me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
If you haven't seen opera and you like Dario Argento, oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll like that one. You'll like that one a lot.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
At the end, the killer turns out to be kind of underwhelming, but you know, again, up until, I mean, he just gets the one up on her and the other characters that he's killing, and he's just damn lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those needles, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we've gone to our honorable mentions list. We've talked about Bird with the crystal plumage.
Right, yeah.
It's the first biggie. You talked about Deep Red.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Phenomena. We talked about Inferno, which was a wow. I was like, what the? I have a message here to myself. WTF? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? What? What was that?
It's pretty messy. Yeah, I have to admit.
Weird. Just weird. If you like Dario Argento, it's just weird. Okay, yeah, go ahead and watch it.
Yeah. It's a little all over the place.
It
has all his great, it has a lot of the set pieces that he loves to throw in there. But as far as an actual plot, you're like, yeah, WTF is
that's what
right.
was missing.
A plot.
It was just weird shit and then a weird ending.
Yeah.
No plot.
Yeah.
Four Flies on Grey Velvet was one of his earlier films. Again, I think it was right after Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and it's pretty much a remake of that.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing. Cat o' Nine Tails was another early one. I
like that one. That one had James Franciscus and Carl Malden.
That's right. Carl Malden was in it, and a little girl.
Yeah.
And he's blind. This is another thing that he likes to do is put blind people into his movies.
Yeah.
Malden is blind, and he tries to help catch a killer, and that makes that one a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma, which has a very, very wasted, underused Freddie Forrest before he passed away, and it has a real quick kind of it's a little more than a cameo, but Brad Dourif is in that one, and his death scene alone, where he's decapitated by an elevator, is worth the price of admission. Just to see Brad Dourif, Chucky, get whacked by an elevator and get decapitated. That's nice. So that's basically my honorable mentions list.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, okay, Opera, Inferno, Cat o' Nine Tails, Two Evil Eyes. Queen Glamazona mentioned Two Evil Eyes. You say
Yeah.
you didn't care for it?
I just think it was so much of the same old, that
Yeah,
I left.
yeah.
I
Well,
think I
I
hate it. I just thought, yeah, it's the same stuff that he's been doing. Come on,
yeah.
different.
Well, as far as well, for people who don't know, uh, Two Evil Eyes is an anthology film, and there's only two stories. The first one was directed by George Romero, and they're both adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe stories. The Romero one with Adrian Barbeau, eh, yeah, and E.G. Marshall, it was okay. It was kind of slow. It took forever to build up any steam, and I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
I
it's got a.
didn't.
Sorry.
I have it. Maybe I just didn't see it. Maybe I did. I just moved over it by accident, and didn't see
Oh,
it. I
okay.
don't remember seeing Adrian Barbeau or E.G. Marshall in any of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Maybe I thought I watched it and I didn't.
yeah. The second story is called The Black Cat, or based on The Black Cat,
Mhm.
with Harvey Keitel, and that's the one that Argento directed, and it's actually the better one of the two stories.
Mm.
He is a photographer. He's a like a crime photographer, uh, and he loves taking pictures of these bloody crime scenes. I don't think he's actually works for the police. He's like a freelancer.
Mm.
Uh, and he is married, or actually, we think he's married, but he's actually his girlfriend is this concert violinist, and she teaches violin. But turns out he has a drinking problem. He's very abusive, and she decides, I've had enough. I'm going to leave, and he winds up killing her. And just like in the story, he winds up walling her up in in uh, in this old closet, and uh, and he hates. And there's this black cat that keeps showing up, and for some reason, this cat just seems to have something against him. Like it knows that he's not a good guy,
Mm.
and uh, and so he thinks he's killed the cat, but it keeps coming back, and at the end,
9 lives.
exactly, of course the police get very suspicious when this woman disappears, and he keeps telling everybody, "Oh no, she went away. She left me." Blah blah blah. Well, first he tells them that, "Oh, we're going on vacation," and the lies just keep piling up. One of her students doesn't believe that she's gone. He starts to suspect that no, there's some foul play involved here, and so the police get involved. Uh, they hear some noise coming from behind this bookcase. So they tear down the wall and, of course, discover her body. And of course, in typical Argento style, there's got to be a lot of gore. And it turns out that he walled up the cat, and the cat was pregnant and
Ah,
delivered her babies. And the babies had to eat something, and so they wind up eating her. They wind up eating her
geez.
body up. Now the weird, there's these freaky cat. I mean, it's obvious that they're like little puppets. I mean, but still, it's just horrific. The revelation of what he did, and he
Because with
winds up
Argento, it's got to be super graphic, gory like that.
exactly. He winds up trying to escape from the cops, and he tries to climb out this window.
He falls through a window.
He falls through a window. Of course, you got to have people falling out a window, and he winds up getting choked to death by the window, like the levers, because there's a cat that jumps up and startles him. And anyway, he
All the
gets his
cats in the
comeuppance,
neighborhood are against him.
but it's like I said, it's typical Argento, but it's in the context of this movie, it's the better one of the two stories, and a very good and a pretty good decent adaptation of the Poe story. So I had to mention that for
Updated version.
Miss
Yeah.
Amazon. Yeah. And I have Sleepless listed, but I honestly I don't remember watching it.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was one that I just couldn't, for some reason, it just wouldn't, I couldn't get it.
yeah, yeah. So maybe I did watch it, maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Obviously, after
Oh,
this,
I know. I was going to watch it, but I wound up watching. He also directed an episode of the show called Masters of Horror
oh,
with Meatloaf, who plays this furrier who winds up he and John Saxon is in it, one of his later roles,
hmm.
who is this trapper who kills all these raccoons who just there's like this whole like area full of raccoons that he winds up trapping and killing and making a fur coat out of their
Hmm.
skin. But they're in this kind of lost city kind of place, and there's this weird old woman, this kind of witchy looking old woman
Hmm.
who
Queen of the Raccoons.
the queen of the raccoons. She tells Meatloaf that they're sacred, it's a sacred land, and these are like ancient spirits. Well, apparently so John Saxon kills and skins all these raccoons, and he sells the fur to Meatloaf.
Right.
And his assistant, John Saxon's assistant, becomes possessed for some reason. He winds up killing Saxon, and then he winds up killing himself. And of course, it's not just, and of course, he has to kill himself in the goriest way possible by putting his face into a trap and getting his face just
Okay
snapped
then.
off. Meatloaf is.
Does he actually pull away from the trap? Ah, there's like a skull there.
Yeah, no, half his face is. Yeah, he falls back. Yeah. And then Meatloaf, he has this thing for the stripper. Again, we got a stripper involved. That he's supposedly in love with or in lust with. He gives her the furs, but again, the furs, because these they're weird spirits. He winds up peeling his skin off and trying to give it to her as a vest. She freaks out. She runs off. He's chasing her. They wind up falling down this elevator shaft and getting killed. So everybody dies in horrific ways. And so anyway,
in horrific ways.
So that's that's the last Argento I watched, was this episode of the show.
I'm tempted to watch it now because
it's an episode.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's a TV show called Masters of Horror.
Masters of Horror.
Yeah,
okay.
And so you get a chance. Yeah,
we'll
it's in
try
the
to
second season. It's season 2.
Season 2.
And it's called Pelts.
Huh?
The episode is called Pelts.
Pelts. Okay, got it. Now he didn't direct these movies, but he did produce and write them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Demons and Demons 2. And they are worth a mention because there's a lot of the graphic, gory stuff that you expect from Argento.
Yes, he was.
But instead of zombies, it's demons who have sprouted out of hell, and and if they bite you, you become a demon. So they kind of passes from person to person. If you get scratched or bit by a demon, you're going to become a demon. So that's entertaining fare. Especially the first one. The first one is very entertaining. People are trapped in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And demons are taking over in the movie theater. They're trying to get out of the movie theater. They're trapped.
As demons are wont to do.
The second one, not so much, but still, the demons are entertaining. How he does the demons is entertaining. So there it is. I wanted to mention those.
Yeah, I mean, there's several movies that we didn't mention that he's done. That, yeah,
Same old, same old.
same old. Yeah. So, all right. So next week we're going for a little lighter fare, and we're doing a theme show next week, and our theme is going to be musical biographies.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I love it.
So a lot of great ones.
Musical biographies.
Musical biographies about musicians, musical
Oh,
acts.
okay. All right.
So I just saw A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic. So that would qualify, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't seen that one. I'm going to look it up.
Oh, you should look at it. You should watch that one.
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu right now.
Yep.
As we record this. Yeah,
What was the one with John that just came out?
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man. Okay.
Yeah. So
and then there's an Elvis one that I haven't seen yet.
Uh-huh.
And what about
I think it's just called
the pianist
Elvis.
who's blind?
Ray.
Yes, Ray is another really good one.
And there's one stretching back. I mean, there's the one with Sissy Spacek, where she plays the queen of country music, Loretta Lynn.
Yes.
Coal Miner's Daughter. There's one Jessica Lange, where she plays Patsy Cline. I think it's called Sweet Dreams. There's even one with George Hamilton playing Hank Williams Sr.
Yeah. He was evil too.
I'm sorry. And he was Evel Knievel as well. Yeah.
John Boy too. Played
Hank
Williams Jr.
Jr. That's right. I think that was a TV movie. But that we'll include that one. So yeah, there's several. There's one with Kevin Spacey where he plays.
Oh yeah, Beyond the Sea.
Beyond the Sea. Yeah.
Plays Bobby Darin.
Bobby Darin, thank you. So, how much of an influence do you think Mario Bava had on Argento? I think he had a big influence on him. And of course,
we should have had Alana Lange on this show.
Well, she unfortunately couldn't be here today, in person. So.
She's an Argento, right?
She's very much an Argento fan, yes. So could have had her insights. Sometime in the very near future, we're going to do a show on Willem Dafoe, and she says she definitely wants to be here for that because she's a big fan of him. So
shiver down your spine.
Yeah, he's had a very interesting career and done some very interesting movies over the years, playing villains and sometimes heroes. He's done comic book movies. He's done detective movies, horror movies. Yeah, so.
And To Live and Die in L.A.
And To Live and Die in L.A., yes. Played a great villain in that one.
And Platoon.
Platoon, yeah.
So it's coming up in a couple of weeks?
A couple of weeks from now, yeah. So, but next week, musical biographies.
All right, sir. This Thursday, we will be doing an unboxing. As you know, I collect James Bond memorabilia, and we opened a box of these, and we've opened a box of these, and now I went back even further and got a box of these. The complete James Bond from 2008, I believe. And there's 40 packs in here, and I'm hoping to get a relic card out of these. I think the autographs have been taken out, even though the guy sent me an autograph from another set. which was nice of him. It's like a $7 autograph. It wasn't a one that a lot of people want, but it was just nice that they sent that in there because they had already they'd opened 2 boxes and gotten the autographs out of the boxes. And then they just took whatever leftover packages, it was 40 packages, which is what you're supposed to get in a box. And they said, we're putting this on eBay for $70. So I said, okay, $70. Yeah, I'll take a gamble. Because there's always a chance that there was a third autograph in the box or a relic card, and this particular set has the best relic cards from the movies. So I'm hoping that we'll get a relic card out of it, because a couple of the relic cards from this set are over like a couple $100. So we'll see. One of the packs feels like it's thicker than the other packs. So we'll find out on Thursday if my gamble paid off or if it was just for fun. So look for that Thursday, 7:00 Eastern time, live on our usual platforms. YouTube will be archived if you can't catch it. Excuse me, if you can't catch it live. Tomorrow, Roland Pruitt's Kaiju Review. They're doing the last show of season 1, Terror of Mechagodzilla. So you definitely want to come for that because Kaiju Combat is going to be there, and George Morgan live from Japan is going to be there. So it should be a fun show, and it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla.
Awesome.
Titanosaurus. Some great over-the-top performances. So we're going to go through a timeline of that and have fun, and that will be the end of season 1. 25 episodes of Roland Pruitt's Kaiju Review. Yep.
Yeah. Is Never Say Never Again canon or not?
I include it, even though it's a remake of Thunderball under a different producer, different production company. It's Sean Connery and it's Bond.
Yeah. So
and you've got some great things in it. As Barbara Carrera is in it, as Fatima Blush, who's the Fiona Volpe character reworked. You've got Klaus Maria Brandur as a wonderful villain playing Largo. And you even get Max von Sydow as Blofeld, which I really dug his Blofeld.
Yeah.
So it's a great film. Yeah. And here's another piece of trivia that I found out recently because I was collecting these cards, was that Valerie Leon, who's a British actress that's done a lot of comedy movies and stuff, she was in The Spy Who Loved Me as a Bond girl. She's the hotel receptionist. In the hotel that they stay in, and she does a couple of scenes with Roger Moore, and she's also the girl that catches Sean Connery and Never Say Never Again and has sex with him in his room, and the bomb goes off in the other room, or no, the bomb goes off in his room. They're in her room, and he has a great line about, well, we made the right choice, and she goes, well, what about your room or mine?
Yeah.
So. She's in both of those. She's in both Bond universes, if you want to call it that. The only thing I miss about that movie is you don't get the Bond theme, which you really miss that in that film. But it is Bond. Yeah. And again, you get Kim Basinger, you get Rowan Atkinson. So it's a good film.
It is.
Good film.
Yeah. No,
By Irvin Kershner. The man who directed Empire Strikes Back.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you to our guest who chimed in, to
the Queen
de la Amazona. We bow to the Queen, and hope she joins us again for.
Thank you, Renee.
And thank you, Renee.
Yes, thank you.
For being our gal, and so until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.